Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene Edwards. This is episode 7, week ending February the 26th, 2022. Lots to cover on this episode as I am going to review the Wild, Lightning, and Panthers games. I'm also going to give you the insight of a lifelong Oiler fan, that's me, of 40 years, and my memories of the Edmonton Oilers from the Gretzky era to the McDavid era. I also get into a conversation with Sam the Van fan. It is actually my very first podcast portion of this video blog that I do. I'm going to get his thoughts on what the Vancouver Canucks are going to do at the deadline and his thoughts on Martin St. Louis being hired as the Montreal Canadiens bench boss, the 36th bench boss of the Montreal Canadiens. As well, I'm going to give you all my stats, my summary of where the Oilers are in the standings, any news, any line changes. So let's go. Let's get it on. All right, so going into this week, Jay Woodcroft has the line combinations of Hyman, McDavid, Yamamoto, Kane, Draisaitl, McLeod, Fogle, Nuge, Ryan, Benson, Perlini, and Broberg is your 7th defenseman as he still continues to go with 11-7 format. Your defensive pairings are Nurse and Bouchard, Ligason, Ceci, Niemelainen, and Barry, with Smith and Koskinen as your goaltending tandem. As far as the injuries go, you can add Jesse Puljujarvi with a lower body injury. He is out 3 to 3.5 weeks. Keith still is about 1 to 3 weeks away. Cassian is still about 3 to 7 weeks away with his broken jaw. All right, as far as the 5 stats go that I started last week, they have improved on all but one. As far as goals per game, they moved up 3 positions to 9th overall in the league with a .331. Shooting percentage went up 3 as well to 13th in the league with a 9.8. However, the power play took a bit of a hit as it slipped 2 spots to 4th with a 26.6. And the goals against average went up 1 spot with a 3.14, and the save percentage went up 4 spots to 22nd with a 9.01%. So the Oilers have shown in 1 week that they are improving under Woodcroft. Let's see if this trend continues going into the following weeks to come. Hey guys, it was bound to happen. We couldn't expect Jay Woodcroft to go 34-0 or something like that. And they did lose in royal fashion as they got absolutely romped by the Minnesota Wild, 7-3. This is Minnesota's 17th victory out of 20 times coming to the Rogers Place in Edmonton. So they obviously love playing in Edmonton. And it was just a horrible night for Mike Smith as he got the hook 13.5 minutes into the game after he let the 4th goal on 7 shots in. So not a very good effort, but I'm not actually upset because this team has been playing a lot of hockey and has been traveling a lot lately. They were a tired team. I'm going to be a little forgiving on that. You got to be realistic. Anyway, let's get into the scoring summary. So it started off very quickly with Minnesota at 2:49. It was Brandon Duhaime from Bugstad. This was his 6th of the season. At 5:21, it was Joe Eriksson Ek, his 16th from Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Kevin Fiala got his 15th from Brodin at 6:17. And once again, Kevin Fiala scores his 2nd of the night at 13:38. That was assisted by Boldy. That's where Mike Smith got the hook. And in came Mika Koskinen. To cap off the period, Evander Kane got on the board for the Edmonton Oilers on a power play goal from RNH and Draisaitl. So it is 4-1 after 1. Absolutely quiet crowd. No energy in the crowd, and the team had no energy, so it was kind of just an energy-less game. So we get into the second period. At 8:28, it was Connor Dewar, his 2nd from Kulikov. At 14:21, it was Matt Boldy from Goudreau and Fiala. And then the one highlight of the night, and it's unfortunate it had happened to be in a losing effort, but Tyler Benson gets his first National League hockey goal at 15:58 of the second period. And then he, for whatever reason, decided to give a massive cross-check to Kaprizov right after that. But yeah, he got his first goal. It took him 30 games to get there, but he got there. It's probably a weight off the world for him to finally get there. Then Hyman scored from Lagesson. Tyler Benson. That was from Hyman and Lagesson. In the third period, it was Matt Zuccarello from Hartman at 5:36, followed by Zach Hyman from Ryan McLeod. And that was a 7-3 game. They are now off to Florida for a couple of games and then Carolina. So again, the stats of the game for me was Benson getting his first goal in 30 games. Yamamoto had 12 penalty minutes. That's a lot of penalty minutes. So maybe that's just a lack of thinking, a lack of something, but for whatever reason, a lot of penalties. Mike Smith's goal save percentage was .429, so very ugly number there. Koskinen wasn't much better at .800. The one positive note was the Oilers were 64.2% on the faceoffs and 1 for 2 on the power play. That has been struggling, so being 1 for 2 isn't too bad. The Oilers gave away the puck 21 times to Minnesota's 11. That's another ugly stat. But again, it is a tired team. I am going to be forgiving. I think the fan base need to understand that these guys are human too. And they are doing their best. None of those guys on that team want to be losers. They all want to go to they all want to win a Stanley Cup. So we got to just be a little bit patient with them. I know the Edmonton hockey base has been, since 2006, has been through a long stretch of not making the playoffs and all that. I get it. I'm a lifelong Oiler fan. But we need to be patient. They're going to get there. I believe in Ken Holland. I think he will make the right deals to get us there. He's not always going to make the perfect deal because he's human. We're not perfect. But we will get there, guys. Let's just take a bit of a breather and just get back. The sky's not falling because they lost their first game. All right? Anyway, I will move on to the next subject. All right, folks. Well, I have a guest on this week's episode. This is a former coworker that I worked with, a huge Vancouver Canucks fan. I'm not going to say too much about that because I am an Oiler fan, but you know what? It's good to see you again there, Sam. The Van fan is what we're going to call you as an alias. How you been?
I am doing fantastic, my friend. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm happy I'm doing this podcast. It all stemmed up from me breaking my leg and getting stir crazy bored at home. I thought, you know what? I've always been into video editing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying doing this. I even went as far as buying another Oiler jersey that's on the way here. But yeah. Anyway, Sam, got to ask you about your Canucks.
Yes, sir.
What do you think they are going to do at the deadline? Do you think they're going to be buyers? Are they sellers? Who's going to move? Who's not going to move? Who are they trying to acquire?
Well, I think under Jim Benning, we would be buyers, to be honest. Under Jim Rutherford and now our other new GM, I can't remember his name, we are definitely, I think, sellers. I don't think there's a realistic chance of us making the playoffs. When you look at all the teams that are ahead of us, the teams that are in front of us, Calgary currently on a 10-game winning streak. Vegas is ahead there. Edmonton is ahead as well. And you also have to jump over Anaheim and LA. Vancouver realistically doesn't have a chance, I don't think, of making the playoffs. And so in terms of their status at the trade deadline, I'd say sellers. Who they're going to give up, who they're going to trade away. I think the easiest choice and the one that has been tied around the most is JT Miller. As much as that hurts me, because I love Miller, he's definitely been our best player since he's been here. I've loved having him on the team, but I think he right now has the most stock, the most trade value for sure. When he played for the New York Rangers, he played 340 plus games for the Rangers, and he had about 172 points. With Tampa, 94 games, 65 points. But with Vancouver, he's been at about a point a game, 172 games played, 171 points. Vancouver has, I guess, rejuvenated his career, has given him a little more life. And I think definitely teams are going to see that. Teams are going to want that. They're going to want someone who can play center, who can play wing. He's a versatile forward. He's a strong forward. He puts the puck in the net. He assists a lot. Overall, he's a fantastic player. Definitely been Vancouver's best player. Really isn't saying much, but he's definitely been their best player. And I think realistically, he's the one that Vancouver trades away in terms of what to bring back.
So you see him going to the Rangers first and foremost?
I think realistically, that's probably the team that most likely will go for him. The Rangers, when you look at other contending teams, I think of Carolina or Colorado or Florida. Their top couple lines are definitely pretty set in stone. Not to say the Miller couldn't slot in even on a third line role or even in the first couple lines if they really needed. But I think the Rangers they're a good team. They're a very good team. But I think having someone like JT Miller to bring in that boost, that leadership, and that confidence back into their room can really give them that boost that they need to not only, make it into the playoffs, which I think is pretty much guaranteed for them at this point, but to really help them go on a run.
Nice. What about going around the league? What are your thoughts on Martin St. Louis being the head coach of the Montreal Canadiens?
When that came out, I was surprised because he doesn't have any coaching experience. For me, when he played in the league, he was one of my favorite players just in the league in general. But you look at already the impact that he's had on the team. Montreal's won 3 games in a row, shockingly beat Toronto last night.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. He's already had a great impact on the team. Cole Caulfield, in his first however many games of the season that he played, he had like 2 goals. And already in like 4 or 5 games under Martin St. Louis, he has like 5 goals. And so he's rejuvenated. I think the team is rejuvenated quite a bit. They definitely are not making the playoffs, but they are, yeah. But they've been rejuvenated. And there's definitely a new energy in the locker room, which with any new coach, that can happen. That bump happens. I mean, you look at Edmonton, they've won multiple games in a row right after they get Jay Woodcroft. Vancouver
5.
won.
It's 5. I gotta correct you on there.
Okay, 5.
They lost their 6th game to Minnesota, and they lost bad, but it was 5.
There you go. So 5 in a row. 5 in a row with Jay Woodcroft. Vancouver wins 7 in a row under Bruce Boudreau.
Mm-hmm.
And
they went on a tear.
Yeah. Even with Boudreau, they're like 14, like 6-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
If you have Boudreau at the beginning of the season, Vancouver's a lot better. If Martin St. Louis was in Montreal at the start of the season as a coach, would they be a contending playoff team? Maybe. I still doubt it with the loss of Price, the loss of Weber. But I do like the Martin St. Louis hire. It's been fantastic so far. And, I guess we'll see from here where it goes.
Nice. Yes. Right on, Sam. This is awesome. It's good to see you again. Good to have you on now it's officially a podcast, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Just a blog. So, yeah, I hope to have you back on here in episodes to come.
Yeah, I love it.
But anyway, we'll talk soon there, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's review the Edmonton Oilers Tampa Bay Lightning for February the 23rd, 2022. This was a pretty good game by the boys. I liked their intensity in the third period. However, goaltending is still an issue with this club, and I'm hoping they address it at the deadline or before the deadline, because this is something that needs to change. If they want to have any chance in the playoffs or even make the playoffs, they need a goaltender. But anyway, let's get into this. So the first 10 minutes, both teams are clogging up the neutral zone. Only 5 shots for both of them in the first 10 minutes. as I think it was something like 3 for Tampa and 2 for Edmonton, or it could have been vice versa, but I know that's what the stat was. Tampa Bay, however, get on the board first at 11:57 from Pat Maroon, former Edmonton Oiler Pat Maroon, 3-time Stanley Cup champion Pat Maroon. He gets his 9th from Perry and Cirelli. This happened to be the 4th shot on goal, and I'm starting to think, Mike Smith's shaky again. As the game progressed, McLeod had a great shooting opportunity that, for whatever reason, he decided to pass it backwards. So a blowing opportunity for a potential grade A chance. Oh well. Hopefully he learned. I think he realized his mistake as he was shaking his head on the bench in disbelief. So anyway, Edmonton tied the game on a power play. Connor McDavid at 18:10 from Tyson Barrie and Leon Draisaitl. However, Tampa Bay, before the period end, had to take the 2-1 lead at 19:45. Steven Stamkos from Alex Killorn and Sergachev. So we go into the second period. It's 2-1. And then 10 minutes into that period, Tampa Bay score a goal again. Braden Point from Palat and Kucherov. Mike Smith is really struggling again. But the ice in Tampa was actually very horrible. So I don't know if that plays to some of his ability, but the puck was bouncing all over the place. The humidity in that building was probably way too hot, and yeah, both teams were fighting the puck. Anyway, Tampa Bay score again. This time it's Corey Perry from Maroon and Sergachev. This now is 4 goals on 14 shots for Smith. And I'm just like, Jesus, we need a goaltender bad. But like I said, maybe it's the ice. I don't know. And I don't know. I keep trying to make excuses for them, but I'm just trying to run out of excuses. Anyway, Zach Hyman gets a goal to close the gap to 4-2. His 19th from Draisaitl. And in the third period, Connor McDavid gets his 28th from Hyman and Draisaitl. We have a 4-3 game, and this started looking really good. By the way, this goal by Connor McDavid. Now, I don't really want to reference Austin Matthews, but everyone knows Austin Matthews has that amazing wrist shot, amazing snipe. This shot by McDavid was very reminiscent to an Austin Matthews wrister. So, yeah, if he's adding that to his arsenal, that'll be pretty good. Anyway, you can also notice that Tyler Benson in this game, since he scored that goal last game, his confidence is starting to pick up. He made some beautiful passes. He was more noticeable tonight as the game went on. The first 2 periods I thought were uneventful. It was a good game, but it was uneventful because of the cluttering and all that. But the third period was exciting. I think I was quoted some explicit words while the game was going on, but it was a pretty good third period. Absolutely loved it. Thought it was a great effort by the team. But unfortunately, they did lose. This is the Stanley Cup champions. Goaltending is the issue. You can't fault the effort on this game. So, getting into the stats, Oilers were 56.6 on the faceoff dot. They were 1 for 1 on the power play. Or they doubled Tampa Bay in penalties, having 4-2. The top hitters for forward was Kyler Yamamoto with 3, and your defensive hitting beast of the night, and I'm going to call him a beast, with 9 hits, Marcus Niemelainen. I love the way this guy plays. Love his intensity. I love how he pounds people and wears people down. So he's showing up to be a really good defensive threat for us. As far as goaltending, again, Mike Smith, his save percentage was an 818. Not good. Not good enough. So that brings us to the current record. The Oilers are 28-20-3. They have 59 points. We're going to go into a video montage that I did, and it's my perspective on being an Edmonton Oiler fan for 40 plus years. I hope you enjoy it. Yep, that's me. It started from a young age. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows. To witness the birth of Hall of Fame greatness to the decade of darkness. Through it all, I maintained my insanity of being an Edmonton Oiler fan. In 40 plus years, I've attended a few games of historic proportions, like attending the first ever outdoor NHL regular season game in the frigid minus 22 climate of Edmonton, Alberta on November 22nd, 2003. If I do recall correctly, I wore a pair of sweatpants, jeans, ski pants, 2 sweaters, a massive downfield jacket, balaclava, toque, and a pair of gloves. I decided to buy a beer after the alumni game, only to have it turn into a Slurpee in 20 minutes. But I can say I was there. Since that game, there has been 22 outdoor NHL games from the Winter Classics, Heritage Classics, and Stadium Series. On February 11th, 2004, I attended a game between the Edmonton Oilers and the Atlanta Thrashers, who are currently the Winnipeg Jets. The significance of this game is it had one of the rare occurrences that was a regular spectacle in the 80s, a line brawl, followed by netminders Pasi Nurminen and Ty Conklin squaring off at center ice for a rare goaltender scrap. From the pounding of the glass to the hysteria of the crowd, this was a fun game to attend, and I don't even remember what the outcome was. I was also at the game where Leon Draisaitl scored his first NHL goal on October 24th, 2014 versus the Carolina Hurricanes. The last game I did attend was December 14th, 2018, where the Edmonton Oilers beat the Philadelphia Flyers 4-1. This was my first game in the very new Rogers Place in Edmonton. I still consider it a new building. What a spectacle. I had extremely high expectations, yet seeing this building for the first time exceeded all of them. It took me this long because I moved away from Edmonton in 2016 prior to the completion of the arena. But while I was working in Edmonton as a welder and construction was underway at Rogers Place, I would tune into the live camera feeds from within the building with anticipation to see the progress that PCL had accomplished. I watched YouTube videos of the critical 800,000-pound center trestle lift being put into position. Yup, I'm a die-hard fan. In 1988, I worked for Edmonton Northlands as a popcorn and pop sales associate, a hawker. I would walk up and down the aisles of the old Northlands Coliseum, bellowing out popcorn, ice-cold Coke. This was a commission-paid job that paid peanuts. On a good night, I would make 15, maybe 18 bucks. I got to see the Edmonton Oilers play, however, and that was good enough for me. On May 26, 1988, the Edmonton Oilers were playing the Boston Bruins in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Oilers would not be denied. I decided to watch the last 3 minutes of the game from the concourse level while holding my tray of pop. The clock ticked down. The Oilers won their 4th Stanley Cup. I witnessed them raising the cup, and then I went to cash out and head home. While I was waiting at the bus stop, the fans were chanting, the horns were blaring, but I was exhausted. And all I thought to myself was, yeah, we won another cup. Big deal. Still till this day, I regret having that thought process. We would win another in 1990 and go on to Game 7 in 2006. And then enter the decade of darkness. In closing, on June 5th, 2017, the NHL conducted a vote 3.6 million people voted the 1984-85 Edmonton Oilers as the greatest NHL team of all time. Folks, that's why I bleed orange and blue. Well, that game there between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers was definitely Mika Koskinen stole the show. A month ago, as you recall, when I did episode number 2, Mika Koskinen stunk. His goals against average when they played in Edmonton was .785. Tonight, his goals against average was a .936. And that actually seems kind of so-and-so. But the saves he made tonight were freaking unreal. So, wow. He actually, honestly, the first period, and I would say a half, it would have been a totally different outcome if he didn't make some of those stops. So, right on Mika. The Edmonton Oilers win 4-3, and just an absolute incredible effort by him and Derek Ryan getting the hat trick. His first career hat trick also happens to be the oldest Edmonton Oiler in the history of the Oilers to get a hat trick. So kudos to both of them for stellar games. Okay, so before I get into the notes of the game, there was kind of a funny thing that Jack Michaels mentioned right at the beginning of the broadcast. As the Florida Arena is called FLA Live Arena. When spelled backwards, it's Evil Elf. And I got a good kick out of it. I was like, I got to throw that into this episode of of Oilers this week. So anyway, enough of the joking around. For the serious aspect of things, the first thing I noticed in the first period was Nima Lyon was crushing the Panthers early. I love this guy's hitting ability. He has been so impressive for me. Koskinen, like I said earlier, was a massive factor in the outcome of this game, because Panthers were really giving it to the Oilers for the first, I'd say period and a half. So Oilers really are lucky on this one. This one, Koskinen stole this game for them. You know how that saying is, sometimes you got to get your goalie to steal the game? This is one of those games that the goalie stole the game, because there's no chance they would have won this game if Koskinen wasn't standing on his head the way he did. In the second period, there was an odd penalty. The Florida Panthers were called for too many on the ice, and then when they did the replay of the video, it looked like Edmonton actually had too many men on the ice. So I don't know if the referee that called that was colorblind or what, but it definitely looked like Edmonton should have got the penalty. I'll take it, but it looked like Edmonton should have been the one getting the call. The Oilers still have a really bad knack at giving up odd man rushes and breakaways while they're on the power play. I don't understand this, but it seems to happen a lot. And I'm hoping Jay Woodcroft can nick this in the bud, because it's starting to piss me off, to be honest. Once the Oilers took the lead in this game, you can just see there was a lot more confidence in their play. They were starting to take a little bit more control. They weren't as sporadic. There was just a little bit more of a thought process on their plays. So, kudos to them. So shortly after Jay Woodcroft got hired and they got a few games in, Derek Ryan went to the media and said that he felt there was more structure. There was more, like from his point of view, that there was more of an idea of where players were supposed to be, there was a better communication from coach to player on positional and game aspects. So it is really showing up in his game. All right, let's get into the scoring summary of the game. So in the first period, it was Derek Ryan getting the first goal of the game. This is his 5th of the season from Devon Shore and Fogle at 10:14. It's 1-0 Edmonton, which was kind of surprising because Florida, like I say, was taking it to Edmonton. But Edmonton get on the board first. However, very quickly after that at 11:50, Anton Lundell scores his 12th from Vertano and Reinhart at 11:50. So we have a 1-1 game. We end the period with Alexander Barkov's getting his 24th goal from Ekblad and Declare at 16:38. It's 2-1 Florida after one. In the second period, it was Derek Ryan getting his 6th and second of the game at 7:29 from Nima Lyon and McLeod. We have a 2-2 game. Followed by Leon Draisaitl getting his 36 on the power play at 10:04 from McDavid and Barrie. And then Derek Ryan, his first career hat trick, his 3rd of the game, his 7th on the season at 19:16 from Kane and McDavid. We have a 4-2 game after 2. Florida at this point is out shooting Edmonton 35-16. In the third period, there was only one goal, and Mika Koskinen was somewhat pissed. So what happened on the play was a massive point shot came. It hit Mika in the mask. He tried to signal down and wave down the referee because his mask was not adjusted properly. Barkov sneaks one in, and Mika loses his you-know-what. So at that point in time, it's 4-3 with, I don't know, I think there was like 5 minutes left in the game. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm just hanging on for dear to life, hoping that they can end up taking this game, which they did in a 4-3 final. Okay, so for the stats of the game, the one notable one was Mika Koskinen had a 936 as he made 44 saves, which I would say probably 15 to 20 of them were grade A chances. Florida was 53.8% on the dot. Edmonton was 1 for 2 on the power play. Nurse led in the hit department for the team with 9 hits. However, Nina Lyon had 5, and I have to mention this because they were actually mostly bone-crushing hits. And Derek Ryan gets his first hat trick. Your stars of the game was Derek Ryan, Mika Koskinen, and Alexander Barkov. The Oilers split the season series with Florida 1 game apiece. And we go now to the Carolina game tomorrow morning. All right, so the Oilers end this week 29-20-3. They are 4th in the Pacific Division, 8th in the West. They play 4 games next week. However, I'm only reporting on 3 because they play Montreal late Saturday night next week. And like I say, if there's a late game on a Saturday, I won't be reporting on that game. They play Carolina on Sunday, Philadelphia on Tuesday, Chicago on Thursday, and then, like I said, Montreal on Saturday. So we will see you on episode 8, guys. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode. I did put a fair bit of time into getting this one put together. So I look forward to increasing the content and making it very viewer friendly. And we will see you on episode 8. We'll talk soon, guys.